Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my postpartum care and what to expect after having a baby. So they prepare you for birth. What they don't prepare you for is what happens after birth. They don't prepare you for what could happen. So my experience, if you guys are watching this and you are planning to have a vaginal birth, or sorry, you guys might hear the thunder in the background because it is thundering outside. But if you guys are planning to have a natural birth or if you've had a natural birth but this time you're hoping to have a natural birth as well, they don't prepare you for what could happen. You could, even though you've had a vaginal birth, you could have a C-section. You could, for your first baby, like me for an example, this is actually my third, but for my first baby, I was prepared to have a natural birth. That is what I went to the hospital for, and I ended up having to have an emergency C-section. So what I am actually going to prepare you for in this video is things that you will need for actually both. The things that I won't have in this video are things if you have a natural birth and to take care of your lady parts down there, like when it comes to like the pads that they talk about, like the cooling pads or the water bottle that they use. I don't have that in this video because I personally did not have a vaginal birth. All three of my babies came out through C-section. The first one was an emergency C-section, which was 7 years ago. And then the other two were just repeated C-sections because my doctor preferred to do that. In this video, I'm going to be preparing you guys for that. If you are having a C-section, a planned C-section, or just to prepare yourself in case it could happen. You guys are preparing yourself through videos and on the internet. Vaginal births or prepare you for that types of things, which is great. You should be. But also look at videos that have to do with preparing yourself for after a C-section. That is very important information to know in case it does happen. Not to scare you, but I mean, you could go into it like I did and think that you're having a vaginal birth and everything changes. So first I'm going to go through the pain, just things to prepare yourself for when it comes to the pain. You do have contractions after birth. So after you give birth and the after fact, even after you leave the hospital and you go home, you still sometimes will have contractions. I know for me, for all three, I had contractions, especially when breastfeeding, you have contractions. So they are painful. They aren't unbearable, but they can be painful. It just all depends, but you will have them. Now, with me having a C-section for all three, your stomach muscles are basically cut. So everything that you use with your stomach muscles, you cannot use. They say you can lay in bed and sleep in bed, but honestly, I mean, I did, but it was pretty hard to get in and out, especially the first 2 weeks. So prepare you for that. If you have people that can help you, that is what you need, especially when it comes to the baby. It was a little bit easier when it was for me to get in and out of the bed because I could just take my time and get out. But when it comes to like lifting the baby and bringing her into the bed and putting her back into her bassinet, it was pretty hard. Malcolm actually had to get out of the bed multiple times. Well, every time I would need the baby, he would actually get out of the bed. Well, first he would let me break it back. I would need help to sit up straight because you're using your stomach muscles. They provide you with a small pillow in the hospital that you can take home with you to use to get in and out of the bed or just to get up if you're sitting down. And I would recommend to use it 100%. It helps. You have to add that pressure down on that area to help you get up. I did not bring my home this time around because I had a small pillow. This one, it actually goes on my bed. So whenever I would need to sit up, I would have to push it onto my stomach area and then lift up. Malcolm actually had to help me sit up. Even by using this, he would just help me by pushing my back up, or he would hold my hand and then I would sit up while also adding pressure onto my stomach. So that, and then he would get up in the middle of the night and come over to her bassinet and lift her up, bring her to me, and then once I was done, he would put her back in the bed for me. That was probably for about like the first 2 weeks. It was pretty much like that. Another thing that they give you is, if you had a C-section, is a machine. I don't have it with me, which I wish I would have brought it, but it is actually like a small little machine like this, and basically it has a tube on it. You blow into it, right? You blow into it? No, you suck it. You suck the air, and the little vial thing goes up and down. So it basically helps you with your breathing right away, so you can go ahead and practice it. They say, I think, do it like 10 times within the hour. They also give you a narcotics when you're in the hospital, and also a pain, well, they give you 2 pain meds. They gave me ibuprofen and then a narcotic. I used the narcotic mainly when I was in the hospital, but I didn't like to touch it too much. My thing is when using the strong medicine, especially in the hospital, I only would take it, or even at home, I only would take it if one, Malcolm was home, or I had help, which I did the first 2 weeks. Or like in the hospital when I'm there, you're in so much pain getting in and out of the bed the first day and a half. So I would highly recommend taking it if you need it, of course, and if they offer it to you. But that is when I mainly took the strong drugs. Usually when I came home, I just took the ibuprofen. I was pretty much fine when I came home. Sometimes I would do a little bit too much and I would need it, and that would be like mainly at nighttime. Like if I was trying to not wake up Malcolm and I wanted to get the baby myself and feed her or put her back, I did hurt myself, I think 1 or 2 times doing that. So don't try to do it all, guys. If you're about to have a C-section, think about it like you just had major surgery. Go easy on yourself. Try not to do too much. Let the help you. The pain and the bleeding kind of went hand in hand. The only time I would really be in pain or bleeding a lot would be if I'm doing too much, even if it was just walking around too much once I got home, or trying to pick up things after the kids. That is when I would start to be hurting or notice that I'm bleeding a lot. I also had a lot of questions with people asking me how I basically recovered so fast and got up and was moving around so much right after surgery. From experience, that is why. And I'm going to share it with you because I wish somebody would have shared it with me, and then maybe what happened to me my first time, it wouldn't have happened. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that this helps you. So with a C-section, like I said, they're cutting you open and then they're sewing you back together basically. So when my first C-section 7 years ago, I remember being in so much pain, and even after taking the medicine, and all I wanted to do was just lay in the bed the whole 3 days that I was in the hospital. Like I just didn't want to get up. Like for what? I just felt like just laying there. If I had to go to the bathroom, I'd get up and go to the bathroom. But I didn't see the importance of getting up and actually moving around, whether it be around the room or even getting up and going around the hallway, like around the nurse's little station, just walking the halls and just getting myself back to moving. I just didn't see that that was necessary. And honestly, the nurses didn't tell me that I should do that. I highly recommend that. I did it my second time after I was, for my second baby, my doctor actually told me that I would actually recover faster and it'd be easier for me to move around if once I got the feeling back into my legs after surgery. And of course, if I was feeling okay, to get up and actually start moving, even if it was just in the room, to do that. So I did. And I did just move around the room once my legs came back to normal. And then the next day I got up and I was still sore. I was still hunched over, but the nurse's table was like right in the middle of right when we walked out of my room, there was like a nurse's desk, and I just went around that big circle and I just kept walking it. I would do a few laps, and even when I would hold my hand and we would walk that circle. Basically, just moving is helping you so much. It's helping, you got to think your bowels, because you've been with a catheter in you, you haven't had a bowel movement because of the surgery, and however long you haven't had a bowel movement. So it's helping with everything. It's helping just everything flow, your blood flow, everything. So that is what helped me. Don't overdo it. I'm not saying overdo it and push yourself. If you do not feel like it, don't do it. But if you do feel like you can do a little bit, do it. Like, don't do anything strenuous because, like I said, you had major surgery, but doing a little bit of walking helped tremendously. So talking about bleeding, my bleeding actually wasn't constant. Actually, for the first 2 weeks, it was pretty heavy. Because you have to think for a whole 10 months, you don't have a period. So after you have the baby, it all just basically comes out. For 2 straight weeks, I was bleeding pretty much, especially when you're up and you're moving around. And then for another week after the 2 straight weeks of bleeding, a week after that, I was bleeding on and off. So it wasn't constant then, but I was still bleeding. So you're bleeding for probably about like 3 weeks. Of the products that I'm about to show you, I highly, highly, highly recommend. If you've had a baby before, you know that those mesh underwear that they give you at the hospital with those giant pads that they put inside are not comfortable at all, and they don't stay either. They move all around, and to be honest, sometimes they move so much, they either give you the biggest wedgies or they move so much to where you're bleeding everywhere. Like, it's just not comfortable. So I came across these. These are the Always Discreet Boutique. I use these. I didn't use those mesh underwear. I used them right after because that's what they put on you right after the surgery. But once I was up and able to get up, I changed into these. These are so much more comfortable than the mesh underwear that they give you and the pads. Like I said, the pad, it moves around so much and it just doesn't stay still, and the mesh underwear aren't comfortable either. But these are even C-section friendly. Like, you don't have to worry about it going, like, rubbing up against anything. They're comfortable. Right after you have a baby, you just want to be comfortable. So these I highly recommend. And then you just take these whole thing off and you just throw it away. So let me show you what the inside looks like. It's just a giant pad, but these are so comfortable. And then all you have to worry about is just putting on something loose, because right after you have a C-section, you don't want anything tight. You want to be really loose and comfortable. So like what I would do is I would wear these and then just like throw on a dress, or throw on some sweatpants that aren't tight, that would go like above my area. But mainly dresses this time around because I had my babies in the summer. So I just threw on a dress on top and these, and I was super comfy. Okay, now I'm going to talk about breastfeeding. So this time around, breastfeeding has gone wonderful. I haven't had any problems. She latched right away. I just haven't had any problems. So my milk came in pretty fast. It usually comes in around, I think, 3 to 5 days after you've had a C-section. It might even be the same way after you've had a vaginal birth as well. I'm not really sure, but my milk actually came in at 3 days. I feel like it was super fast than the other 2 pregnancies that I had. So day 3 is when your milk usually comes in. But before then is when they usually get the colostrum that is in your breast. That is like the healthiest part that they tell you. If they say if you're not going to breastfeed, at least, you know, give them the colostrum because it's really good for them and helps build their immune system. So when the milk starts to come in, literally your boobs will feel like rocks. They will be so full and hard. You won't want nobody to touch them. They hurt so bad. You won't even want to touch them. They hurt that bad. Do not be discouraged though. I'm telling you, it will be over soon. During the first, I would say month and a half is when mine was pretty bad. When it comes to, they would be so full and engorged and just hurt. Like I said, they felt like rocks. They were hard as rocks. And I will say the first 2 weeks of breastfeeding is probably going to be the most hardest with just the baby. It hurts when they're latching because they're learning, you're learning. It just hurts because your boobs they're filling up with milk, and then like I said, the baby is learning. So don't give up. I remember all of the mini blistered nipples I would have to deal with, and bloody nipples, guys. It hurt. I would be texting and calling my friend that breastfed for so long saying, I'm about to give up. It hurts so bad. But she said, don't, it gets better. And it did. After 2 weeks, it felt so much better. And another product I want to share with you guys is nipple cream. These two products I'm actually about to show you, I highly recommend if you're going to breastfeed, and because you are going to go through these pains when it comes to your breast filling up and being painful. First thing is this nipple balm cream. They give you one in the hospital, but that one did not work for me. This is the one that worked for me. I actually got this from Target. It's called Boobs Organic Nipple Balm. So this one I highly recommend. Every time the baby would be done feeding, I would immediately put this on and just keep repeating it, and that would help. It would help tremendously. Every time the baby was done, put it on, and you don't have to wipe this off either, so the baby can digest this. Next thing I would recommend are these babies. These are, I mean, of course you can use frozen like vegetables and stuff, but I got Malcolm to stop and get me these from Target. You can actually use them as cooling pads or heating pads, whichever you prefer. I use cooling because when your breasts fill up and they're so engorged, you need something cool on them to relieve it. So this is what I use. I just pop these in the freezer, and then I would just stick them in my bra, and they were like heaven. So these, and then they actually come with these. So if you put these in here and then warm them up, helps so much. First 2 weeks, you need this. So the first few weeks, you also leak a lot. So you're gonna have to wear a bra all the time, all day long, because you're leaking all the time. You're gonna need to change breast pads all the time. So that is my next recommendation, is getting some breast pads. I have disposable ones and I have reusable ones. The reusable ones, I actually leaked through them. So I would still wake up in the middle of the night and my shirt would be soaked, my bed would be soaked. So I just gave up on the reusable ones, but these ones I didn't have a problem with. I would just have to change them sometimes, like in the middle of the night, but they never leaked actually through my clothes. So I recommend these. These are from Target as well, the Up and Up brand disposable breast pads, and they come in a pack of 100. This is what they look like, and they also have the little stickies on the back so you can stick them to your shirt or your bra. Okay, some more things that I recommend are nursing bras. I have 3 different types of bras that I'm going to show you. The first one I'll actually show you is for pumping. This bra is actually by Medela, and this is for pumping. So I really highly recommend using, if you plan on pumping, using a bra like this. It actually is hands-free, so you can pump and still be functional with your other 2 hands. So that was very important to me because I have 2 other kids that I have to tend to. So Medela nursing bra, I think you can get this from Amazon as well. And these types of bras, they're not the most flattering bras, but they are the most comfortable bras, especially when you have to sleep in them. So this brand, I think it's Medela. Yep, Medela brand too. I think I bought these off of Amazon though. So they just have the little latch like all nursing bras do. And I mainly wear these like if I'm around the house or like I said to bed, because they don't have that wire underneath and they're just so comfortable. So I also bought some like nicer type bras, the ones with like the underwire for like when I'm going out, and just has a little bit more support, but also is a nursing bra. Another thing I would recommend is getting some comfy lounge clothes to wear like around the house, or comfy pajamas. Like I lived in pajamas for the first 2 weeks, and I found these on Target and I really love them. Even after the beginning messy stages of postpartum, I even wear these now and they're so comfortable. I even wore them when I was pregnant and my belly was just sticking out of them, if you guys remember that. But these, what is the brand? Stars Above by Target. I have a black pair and a blue, like a navy blue pair. These are so soft. The material is amazing. And they're breastfeeding friendly because of these buttons. In the middle of the night, you don't want to be taking your shirt on and off like over your head, especially in the beginning. So I would recommend getting some just button comfy pajamas. You can wear these, like I said, around the house, or at night it's easier to breastfeed in. And they come with these shorts, super soft. I think they have a pants option too, but I like to sleep with shorts and short sleeves. Then another thing I recommend is this little thing. This is called the haka or haka. I don't even know the right pronunciation for it. You're having a letdown. So say if the baby is feeding off of one side, you're going to be leaking off of the other side. So instead of that milk going to waste into a pad or wherever, just not in the baby's mouth, I recommend getting this. This catches anything that you are leaking. So you could just have this attached to you on one side while the baby is feeding on this side. And then usually I get like an ounce, 2 ounces, sometimes even 3 ounces with just using this. And then the baby can still eat if you have to on this side. And then whatever I collect in here, I just store it. I put it in a storage bag and then freeze it. And then if I need to use it in the future to give her a bottle or to make baby food or whatever it is, you have that extra stash set aside. So I do recommend getting one of these. Another thing I had a problem with was my boobs were so engorged that I had to pump. So even after the baby fed, my boobs would still feel they just felt so engorged, like I had so much milk. So I would also have to pump, not every time, but sometimes I would have to pump afterwards, and then I would just store that milk in the freezer as well. And then by the time the baby would need to eat again, my boobs have already filled back up. I mean, if I had to, I would use that milk, but my boobs had already filled back up each time. Reason being that I pumped, because a lot of people say do not pump because it messes with your supply. But I had mastitis after my second daughter was born, and that is no joke. When you have that, it is so painful. I did not want to go through that again, so I just needed to relieve them. So that is why I did do the pumping, and I'm so glad I did, and thankfully so far I haven't had that issue. Another thing that I recommend is eating lactation cookies. I brought some with me to the hospital. Now the kind that I took with me to the hospital are just like really small, tiny ones that I got from Target. I think, what are they called? You've probably seen them in the, they're like a little white bag. I'll link them down below in case you guys want to check them out. I just brought them with me to start eating as a snack in the hospital, and to also help with my milk to come in. And then once I got home, I ordered this from this company called Milky Mama. I'll link them down below as well. Their treats are so good, and they definitely did help me a ton when it came to my milk. Only reason I don't eat them anymore is just because it can get kind of pricey. So what I did do was I just started making my own just here recently. I found a recipe off of Pinterest, and I just made my own lactation cookies, and then I can freeze them and then take them out as I need them. If you guys are interested in seeing that, like me showing you guys how to make them, my recipe and so forth, let me know in the comments down below, and I can probably try to incorporate into a vlog for you guys. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and you find it helpful. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything that you felt that was helpful, so also other mamas can check it out as well. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you guys are new, and I will see you in my next video.